Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I have one article about the developments and the latest news in Bakhmut, the hottest spot on the Ukrainian front, and that's coming from Reuters. But I will use Reuters. But anyway, it's going to be another media outlet that I'm going to use. And I will show you how, I don't want to say confusing, it's not confusing for me, but how I think these guys are not really telling us the truth. I have here my little iPad here, and I couldn't find it on, I didn't want to waste time to find it on the laptop. So I'm using this, so I wanted to see the frequency. In one article, Reuters tells us that Russians are tightening noose on Ukraine's Bakhmut, situation extremely tense. That means the Russians, are tightening, so are getting, and then underneath it is another piece of news coming from the New Voice of Ukraine. Russia's new Donbas offensive is failing by New York Times reports. So on first article, Reuters said that the Russians are advancing in Bakhmut, which is in Donbas, and below New York Times reports taken by the New Voice of Ukraine, Russian new Donbas offensive is failing. Now, which one is it? They can't be both at the same time, can they? Yeah, so I'm going to show it to you here. So that's the way I got it. So let's see if you see the first one, the one on top, and the one on the bottom. The one on top with the news is going blah blah blah, and the other one on the bottom, the New York Times, it's failing. How in the hell it's failing when the other guys are saying that these guys are? But anyway, that's and now let's go to this article coming from Reuters, telling us about Bakhmut. So Reuters today at 28th of February 2023. Russian forces hammer Ukraine's Bakhmut in quest for breakthrough in war. This is it, and it starts by Russian forces on Tuesday pressed forward their weeks-long drive, encircle and capture the eastern Ukraine city of Bakhmut, where the Ukrainian military described the attacks as constant. But I'm going to go and read further from this guy, the same, from US News. Russian tightens news on Ukraine's Bakhmut, and also these guys added Putin warns of Western espionage. So the same beginning, Russian forces on Tuesday pressed forward their weeks-long drive to encircle and capture blah, blah, blah. So it's the same thing here. And let's see. Taking Bakhmut, the scene of some of the war's bloodiest battles, would be Russia's first major prize in more than 6 months and open the way to seizing the last remaining urban centers in the Donetsk region. I thought that it doesn't have that's what they said. It doesn't have any value. Remember? That's how these guys were telling us. I don't know why the Russians are fixated on Bakhmut, because it doesn't have any, really no value. And they little by little acknowledged and let us know, which we knew from the very beginning. And Russians are not idiots, as this guy tried to make them sound like or act like. And look, last remaining urban center in the Donetsk region, one of the 4 Moscow claims to have annexed in its special military operation. So, and then I'm going down here, we're going to talk about Bakhmut. City is on fire. Around Bakhmut, Russian troops, including mercenary fighters from the Wagner group, are trying to cut the Ukrainian defenders' supply lines and force them to surrender or withdraw. The thing is, all these supply lines, all the entries in the city are under Russian shelling control. That means they can hit them at will, according to the article that I read this morning, I think, or it was yesterday. I made a video on that one. So they're already there. And yes, surrender or withdraw. I think they should just withdraw and find another day behind the newly created defensive lines of the Ukrainian army. That tells you that if they're newly created, they didn't expect this to happen. Well, sometimes you can't know everything or get ready for everything, prepare for everything. And I'm quoting, despite significant losses, the enemy threw in the most prepared assault units of Wagner. Wait. Again, what do you mean the most prepared? They said that the Wagner group is now about 10,000 people. That's all they got. And most of them are convicts and just losers, drunks, and ill-prepared. Now we found that we have the most prepared. So the most prepared of the drunks, okay. So the ones that are sober Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the other ones don't, who are trying to break through the defenses of our troops and surround the city. Ukraine Colonel General Alexander Syrski said in a statement, an unnamed soldier from Ukraine's 93rd Separate Mechanized Brigade, speaking on the Telegram messaging app as explosions boomed in the background, struck a defiant note. February 28th, the town of Bakhmut, the city is on fire, the enemy is pressing, everything will be Ukraine. If this guy right here, the unnamed soldier, would write something else that what he wrote down here, he wouldn't be probably alive anymore. He would be charged with by the whatever martial law that is instituted over there, which, yeah, I understand that one. Russia state-run RIA news agency related the video clip it said showed Russian Sukhoi 25 fighter jets roaring over Bakhmut, and I'm quoting, "We are glad they are ours," end quote, says the man in the clip identified as a Wagner fighter, adding the jets helped them psychologically. Was this a counseling session or something? Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I understand that guy to a great extent. I was about to say perfectly, but no, because you're not in his shoes. You don't know what the quantity of poop he's got in his pants. Anyway, Ukraine's military said Russia was shelling settlements around Bakhmut, which had a pre-war population of around 70,000, but now lies in ruins after months of intense trench warfare. And I'm quoting, over the past day, our soldiers repelled more than 60 enemy attacks. Past day. The military said early on Tuesday, including on the villages of Yadychne and Berkivka, just north of Bakhmut. A Reuters reporter who visited the area on Monday said he saw no signs of Ukrainian forces withdrawing and the reinforcements were arriving despite constant Russian shelling. Yeah, I believe you as, I believe Bush or Biden or... Anyway, Ukraine's eastern front lines resembles a grinding slog, and Russia is not likely to be able to make significant territorial gains in the near term, the U.S. Undersecretary of State for Defense Policy Colin Kahl said on Tuesday. Now, this person right here is just an ideologue with a make-believe. His job is to make us feel good, okay, or bad, depending on what the goal is, okay? So now he's supposed to make us feel good, even though the situation over there is not good at all. But he knows best because he works for the government, right? Ukrainian soldiers in the Donetsk region hunkered in muddy trenches after warmer weather thawed out the frozen out the frozen ground. That's exactly what it's over there, is it? Just change W with the A. And I'm quoting, both sides stay in their positions because, as you can see, spring means mud. No shit. Thus, it is impossible to move forward, said Mykola, 59, commander of the Ukrainian frontline rocket launcher battery, which table screen for coordinates to fire. All right, the spring thaw, I got it good now, has a history of ruining plans by armies to attack across Ukraine and western Russia, turning roads into rivers and fields into quagmires. All right, well, Russia, its forces replenished with hundreds of thousands of conscripts, has intensified its attacks all along the eastern front, but its assaults have come as a high cost, says Ukraine by itself alone, which is expected soon to launch its own counteroffensive. Well, that would be the, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov repeated Moscow's stance that it is open to peace negotiations, but Kiev and the Western allies must accept Russia's annexations of 4 Ukrainian regions after a referendum last September. It's not only that, it's a lot of things that they want. It's just, yeah. So this is what's going on in Bakhmut, and according to those guys, the noose is tightening, but the other guys from New York Times says, nah, nothing happens in Donbass. These guys are not doing anything. They're failing. Well, which one is it? New York Times or Reuters? You pick, because both lie probably here and there. They lie by omission, they lie by interpretation, they lie by straight lie. And not only they. It's not only these guys doing that. And remember, the first victim of a war is truth. All right, this is it. I think Bakhmut was in bad shape at the beginning of this month, was already decided. It was just a matter of time. From the articles and statements that I got my eyes on, I said, no, the Bakhmut is already lost. And it was because of the offensive, the way they approached it, and especially how the support, the verbal support from these weasels right here started to wane away, and little by little they started using certain kind of words that they didn't use before, and that tells you that, okay, so the direction goes that way. They knew, but hey, they let us know little by little. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.